Welcome to episode 1, part 1 of the Nasty Work podcast with Coach Slaw and Nia Senior, where we kiki about all things women's hoops.
Welcome to Nasty Work podcast. My name is Sade.
I am Nia Senior, emphasis on the senior. On today's episode, we are kikiing about the W expanding to the Bay Area, the semifinals, and the highly debatable awards.
We've also got some previews of the awards that we're going to give out next episode. You know, Twitter awards, Instagram awards, the stuff that really counts. So we're excited for you to join us. So October 5th, 2023, the year of our Lord, Golden State has announced that they will be expanding the league with a team in the Bay Area that will play at Chase Center Arena. Nia, initial thoughts on this?
Boo! Why do we need another West Coast team? That is my initial thoughts. And I'm just like, okay, this is going to be another expensive place to have a team, to live, everything. But, you know, I'm excited overall just to see the W finally expanding. I definitely think we've needed more than 12 teams. And so it's nice that we're actually getting some concrete answers, not Kathy saying she's narrowing it down to 14 cities. You know what I mean? Like, we have real concrete owners, a location, and a date for when the team is actually going to come. So overall, it's exciting, but I'm not happy about the location or necessarily the owner choice. But, you know, we can't be too mad at money. So what are your thoughts, Sade? How are we feeling about it?
I'm a Steph Curry fan. I'm a Bay Area fan. I hate that this is where it's at, honestly. Because I'm not a Golden State fan. Like, I think that ownership showed its true colors when it moved out of Oakland and moved out to San Francisco in the first place. And abandoned the fans that have been down with them from day one in the real part of the Bay, the town, because they call San Francisco the city and they call Oakland the town. That'll tell you right there what you need to know. But expansion is expansion. It's been a long time coming. It's much been desired by everybody who really pays attention to this league. I think it's a good thing overall for the players, especially the young players who have been trying to get into this league. We saw a lot of folks get snubbed last year's draft. There was a lot of criticism about who was waived after the draft took place and after we started training camps and preseason games. I'm excited for that there will be more opportunities, 12 more spots for people to join.
Yeah, we were on the same sentiment with that, but I definitely agree. Opportunities, because not even just like player opportunities. Yeah, it's given 12 roster spots, but it's also giving more coaches opportunities. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many, I feel like, veteran or retired W players that deserve a chance at a head coaching job, or it opens up spots for, you know, like training and media and just everything else when it comes to having a whole team in a franchise. So I think that's really exciting, and I think that, you know, just pushes the game forward even more. So, but yeah, the location, I'm not feeling that too much. That's quite far from where I stay at. But you know, I think that, or at least I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter playing where should the next city be, because it seems like in the past at W, when they have expanded, they have always done it like in a 2-team thing. So it's like a West Coast team and we get an East Coast team. So on that wave, if they're going to follow that same trend, where would you like team number 14 to be? Or where could you see it being?
I could see it in Miami.
Miami?
I could. I hear what you're saying about, what about the cost of living for the players? What about pay equity? Pay them people first.
You know what I mean?
Before y'all expand teams, let's get these checks a little more solid. But I think Miami is a market that's really competitive, really growing. They already have a very well-established NBA team. We don't have a team that far south. The Atlanta Dream is, you know, that's where my heart is because I'm from Atlanta. But I think it would draw a different audience to the league as well. You have a crazy immigrant population over there from the island, tapping into the Latinx community. and people love a party, a good time to show love. So yeah, I think that would be a solid destination. A great place to have an all-star game. So I think Miami's a good look. I think Boston's a good look.
Wow. Okay, so that's the first time I've heard someone say Boston.
I think Boston would be a
Why?
good look. Like, I know there's a competing market there with UConn, with Connecticut Sun, with New York Liberty, y'all kind of being in the same area, and then you're not far from the Washington Mystics as well. But Boston is where you got some real serious sports fans, and I think it would translate well. And it would be
That's
refreshing to see a women's team come in there and see if they have an opportunity to dominate like the men's teams have with the Patriots, with the Boston Celtics, having those legacies. Like a women's professional team really being dominant up there would be tight. Yeah, I'd be surprised if that was the market they chose, but I could see it. I really could.
that's interesting. Me personally, growing up in Detroit, I hate the Boston Celtics, so I don't think I would, be going to
Oh,
anything
for
or.
sure. I'm a Lakers fan, so I hate the Celtics. The only Celtic I've ever made an exception from was Jaylen Brown, because he grew up in the same area, went to the same schools, like that type of thing. But nah, on game days, it's on site, and I can't stand the damn Celtics. I can't stand
At all.
Patriots fans, but I can understand the money. I want the girls to go where the money's at, right? Like,
You're right. I want the girls to get the bag. So,
I want them to go where they're going to be marketable, right? Like they can get the bag. And right now, it seems the place to be is where you can ensure that they'll have some stability are the markets where we already know it's a basketball city and we
mm,
already know they're willing to make the investment and they're willing to make the investment in the culture, and they have a standard that they would uphold. So I think either of those places in Miami and Boston have similarities to the Golden State Warriors, them being the most recent dominant basketball legacy town. Boston's got its long history, 18 championships, and then Miami, D Wade
the
and LeBron went on a run. So I'm kind of like looking at the pattern match and saying, okay, strategically, I think that would be fun, either of those places.
I know a lot of people have been throwing out Portland because you were saying like a city that is a basketball city, and so they're saying that Portland is like potentially going to be the 14th place. But to me, that doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? Because for one, the culture of Portland to me just doesn't necessarily scream. I mean, it seems to be like a liberal kind of area allegedly, but I've also heard that it's pretty racist. So but they
Yeah.
already had a franchise. Back in the early 2000s, I believe from 2000 to 2002. So the
Yeah.
franchise, it was like the Portland Fire, and they only lasted for 2 years. So I don't know how promising it is. A lot of people are pulling for expanding back to locations where there were franchises, but to me, I think that maybe we should explore newer markets to where there have never been a franchise, because clearly not saying that to blame those cities of why the teams fail. There's so many factors that go into it, but trying a new place just makes sense to me. So for my options of where I'd like to see us go, if there's going to be another 14 team, like you said, I really want another Southern team. I feel like it's only the Dallas Wings and Atlanta Dream. So my pull is New Orleans. I feel like a team in New Orleans would go
Mm,
crazy. It would be so much fun. Like exactly what you said. All-Star
no
game, that would
sweat.
go so dumb. Like on Bourbon Street, it's going to bring the hose out. You know what I mean? Like,
It would
I
bring the
think,
hose out. It would bring a lot of hoe out of some folks.
ooh, and they have a cool culture. Like you could easily build like marketing and stuff around that. Like, and I think it's a fun place to live because, and as a reality, right now the league is only in the summer, so it's like from end of April till October. That's where the players are, and I feel like sometimes when it comes to recruiting, you need a place that people want to come and want to be, and I think that players would want to live in New Orleans. They could have a good time there, especially being that the league is majority black. New Orleans is pretty black friendly. It's a mostly black city. I just be thinking about all other as ideas. And plus, like I said, it's a southern place and it's on the east. So like Dallas now has a place that they can closely travel to. Atlanta has another place that they can easily get to because, you know, the girls are always complaining about the travel. So let's give them something there. So New Orleans is my first choice. And then I would say, you know, this is like a random city. I know nobody is probably going to agree, but I feel like Cincinnati could go crazy. You know what I mean?
Really?
I know that's so random. People are like, Cincinnati? What's in Cincinnati?
Cincinnati. Shout out
Think about the
Cincinnati. My
location.
sister lives in Cincinnati. A lot of my folks on my dad's side from Cincinnati. And they are diehard sports fans.
You know what I mean? Ohio has such a big culture. Like I think about Ohio State. Then Cincinnati's not that far from Louisville, and Louisville has a big, you know, basketball culture, especially when it comes to women's basketball. So it's kind of like a central location there. Then it gives us another Midwestern team because as of right now, it's only really Chicago Sky. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Cincinnati,
And
that
it
could
gives,
be cute. And
you know, like he's not from there, but it gives LeBron the opportunity to support, right? But why Cincinnati and not Cleveland?
So Cleveland already had a franchise, so that's on my same mindset of I don't necessarily think that we should go back to markets. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like Cleveland already had a chance. Not saying they don't deserve another chance. You know, as the game grows, maybe we can circle back to them.
And sometimes it's the ownership too, right? If you're not making the right investment, the right amount of investment of resources to sustain, like
that's what I don't want to blame the city completely. That's what I'm saying. But I just feel like I have already created like a new place, Cincinnati. Like I said, location. It's close to Kentucky, Louisville. It's not that far, and it's also not that far from the southern places. So it's like a good central location. Hence, it's being in the Midwest. And the cost of living in that city is not that bad. Like you know what I mean? Like it's a city, but it's not like a New York. It's not a Bay. It's not a Seattle. It's not gonna cost you an arm and a leg to necessarily have a franchise there to house players, all those other things. And so I also think that gives the opportunity for ownership group that has less capital to potentially have a franchise because I don't know if you saw Elena Baird, like she was trying to bring a franchise in the Bay Area as well, but you know, the Warriors beat her out. So I think that like players or women ownership or just, you know, like more minority ownership, it gives them a chance when you are in a city that is more economical. So that's why I'm pulling for Cincinnati. I think it's cute.
Yeah, I feel that. I think, especially in this era where we're seeing a lot more professional athletes go the ownership route now too.
True.
It would be cool to see a group of professional athletes and, you know, maybe like a billionaire.
Right, you know, one billionaire. That's all they do.
Circle up and say, "Hey, we're invested in this place, and in this league." So yeah, I feel that you're selling me on that. What do you think about? Did you hear about Steph Curry's reaction when they asked him what trio of players would you like to see on the Golden State women's team?
No, but I know he's gonna name college players, or he named people in the W.
He named people in the W. Okay. So, you know.
Sabrina UNESCO.
There it is.
We already know that's his girl. He go, you know, they both shooting them NBA threes. So
and then she wasn't too far along from his other two, Stewart and Asia Wilson as a combo. So he went on three. He went a three-headed snake out here.
You know, in the era of super teams, you know, that's what people are saying that we're in. That would go dumb. That would go super. But I feel like because Asia and Stewie cancel each other out, it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Like it's not that. You gotta have some other people. I would like if you said Chelsea Gray or another, you know, still make it a super team, like if we have in that, but not nobody that's gonna cancel each other out. I don't know. That would be crazy. If they did that, that would be insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to coach that team. But because there's only so many possessions in a game, and it's like who's got the hot hand, hard to tell. You know what I mean? But yeah, if I was playing 2K or something,
yeah, run it up. Let's get buckets. Like we gonna win. We about to win 100-20. Like to go stupid. That's crazy that he said that, but I'm not surprised.
It's not.
I actually want somebody to put the microphone in front of LeBron's face. Ask him. I know he's gonna say Asian. Asian basketball. That's his
I know
best.
Ace is his girl, but I don't know if he's. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's ready for the LeBron WNBA conversation.
Ooh.
I feel like LeBron either knows just enough or he knows so much that it's like, damn.
It's just like him in them songs. You know, he either know just enough lyrics to
Just
record the
enough.
video, or he know all them hoes. He going hard, but
He's going in. Yeah.
he know just enough, and he be mumbling in the video.
Because I'd never knocked James' basketball knowledge, but I'm tired of. This is what this segue is about. Curry, like you named the three probably most visible players in the league, right? It didn't take a lot of creativity to come up with that trio, right? And I'm not saying it's necessarily reflective of his knowledge of what's going on. But what I'm tired of is guys from the NBA, saying they support the league, coming to the games, people come in, and interviewing them at halftime or at a media break or after the game, like, what made you come out tonight? Because they didn't sweat today. So I'm gonna just pick a player. If you're Andrew Wiggins and I ask you, so what made you come out tonight? What are you gonna say, Nia?
I'm trying to support the game.
I'm
trying to support the women. I hate when they say that.
Thing every time, knowing damn well they don't know a single player on the roster.
Unless they in their DMs.
They in the DMs though. And I'm like, I just need someone to show some real depth of understanding and commitment. We need like all this. Oh, I just came to support Hutter, like it's your little cousin's AAU game.
You know what I mean? This is not charity. Like these are professional athletes. Let's be serious. Like, yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because nothing pisses me off more than that. And Kelsey Plum said it in one of her recent interviews, and she was like, "Yeah, don't pull up saying you're trying to support me. Pull up because you want to see me ball. Like, pull up because you want to watch me hoop, watch me do what I do." And I know people are gonna be like, "Well, that's the same thing." No, it's really not. Like, there's two different things. Saying you want to support something is treating it like a charity or just like, "Oh, this is a handout. I'm giving you my money. You need this." Like, instead of, no, like, I'm just here because I like this and I like what you do. Y'all don't pull up to Drake shows saying you want to support.
Sure don't.
Y'all just pull up. Y'all pay for the ticket. So do the same.
Right. So. You better not come at Beyonce like that. That's disrespectful.
Right, you're going to support Beyonce? Let's be serious.
No, that's real talk. And I think the other thing that's funny about this expansion period, we're not insiders, right? But when the fans came out at the beginning of the season and said, I'm tired of this. When are y'all expanding? When are y'all getting this done? It was a whole lot of, well, it takes time and you guys got to be patient. You guys got to relax. And why is everybody coming at us? And now you're answering our prayers, right?
Oh, they want us to be overjoyed. They want us to just be grateful. Like, oh my God, like, thank you, Kathy and the powers that be. Thank y'all so much for bringing us another team. Like, that's what they want us to do. But my whole thing is they want us to be patient. The last time the W expanded was the Atlanta Dream in 2008. That's when Barack Obama was still president. Like,
I was in the 8th grade.
I was 10 years old. You know what I mean? Like, let's be serious. How much more patient can we be?
But it is what it is. We're happy that this is happening. We're happy to finally get to see 12 more players suit up. It adds some competition, it adds some flavor. And that Golden State ownership is as committed as they are to building this leg of their franchise and not treating it as if it's charity, as if it's second class, as if it's, something cute to do.
I feel like Mark Davis has really shown the girls, like, what ownership should look like, what the ace is, and, like, the state-of-the-art facilities, all of that. And so I want the Golden State to be like, okay, we're on that same type of time. Like, let us pull out the red carpet for these girls, get them everything they need, and hopefully that inspires some of the other owners or future owners to do the same, because they are world-class athletes and deserve to be treated as such. So throw your money.
Yeah, be a good steward of your team, man. Like, there's a standard set thanks to Mark Davis. I don't know if you saw, Phoenix is spending $100 million on its own practice facility for the Phoenix Mercury now.
No, I didn't see that,
Right?
but
Like,
I saw Seattle. They're having a practice facility being built.
right. So, like, there's no doubt in my mind that when Mark Davis came into the league and started shaking things up, it raised the standard. It pushed people in a different direction, especially seeing how successful the Aces have been and continue to be.
When you think about owners, like they want to return on their investment. Right. And so when you pour into your players who are your customers, you get the return back on that.
That's what's up. Let's get into these awards and lack
Let's talk
thereof.
about them.
Dubs and snubs.
I feel like so many of the girls have been snubbed. I feel like this has been the talk for like the last month on Twitter. It's about the awards because they're coming out like, first of all, so sporadically. It's just like, okay, it's this random Tuesday. Let's give y'all this award. And then they're giving out awards early that were supposed to come out later. It just goes to show you like how much these awards are about a narrative and are not necessarily about the players' talents all the time. You know, I don't want to ever take anything away from what the players have done because all the people that have won these awards are talented players. These are people that are working hard. But at the same time, we need to acknowledge that there is a narrative and powers that be when it comes to these awards. It's more than just the stat sheet.
Right.
Let's start with the easy. Let's start with, you know, the one I feel like we all feel like they got right. And that's got to be Rookie of the Year. It's the only award that was won unanimously. Rightfully so.
It's also like undeniable, right? Like what other rookie was coming for her like that? Like,
you know what I mean? Aaliyah Boston is that girl. She's that girl right now. She's that girl of the future. You know what I mean? She did her thing this season hands down, and nobody could deny her that. And I'm so glad that they did not try and play with our sister and gave her hardware because she balled out this season. She was, you know, a rookie as an all-star. Come on, like the resume speaks for itself.
Absolutely. Average 14.5 points, 8 rebounds, just over a block a game.
I think she led the league in field goal percentage this year.
Yep. I couldn't be more proud of her as an athlete getting into the next level, setting her mind on something. She said, I wrote down, I'm going to be Rookie of the Year, and accomplished it, representing, you know, those South Carolina Gamecocks and representing herself and her family in the utmost, like, graceful and distinguished way. She's always on point, always respectful, always kind, a little too humble. Yeah, and I'm excited for her to continue to grow in this league. She's going to be a dominant force for sure. This wasn't like a glitch, or it really wasn't a surprise to me either.
No, I don't think it was a surprise to anyone. I think that, you know, she lived up to the expectations that we all had for her being the number 1 draft pick this year. You know, she just Aaliyah Boston. Like she, like you said, been herself since day one. Always humble, always putting in that work, putting the team on her back, and just is also like a really good personality to see in the media. Like I love to see that she is getting uplifted and getting the coverage I feel like she deserves. I understand she's only a rookie. It's year 1, you know what I mean? It can always be better, but like I feel like, you know, she got the shine that she needed to get this year as the number 1 draft pick and as now the Rookie of the Year. Like, because she, like you said, she's going to be a force in this league, but she's also just a good person. Like, she just seems like, you know, not that I know her personally, but she just always seems so sweet in all her interviews and just so genuine, like an authentically who she is all the time. So,
right.
I think that's amazing for the game.
And the up and under nasty work.
Oh,
nobody can guard it. Well, maybe Brittany Griner a little bit, but
you know they can't guard. They're sending triple teams at a rookie. That lets everybody know that you're that girl.
You gotta respect it, 100%. I think the next one they got right is. What do you think? I think the next one they got right for sure is Most Improved.
Wow, I'm gonna have to disagree.
Which one do you think it is? Defensive player?
Defensive player of the year, I think they got that right. A'ja Wilson, I have so many things I could say about her this season, she's just that girl. Like, what else can you say about her? I don't understand how people hate her. She's that girl. Point blank, period.
Because they hate
And she defends, it's the hateration. And we hate to see it in the dancery. You know what I mean? Like, she's that girl. So yeah, I feel like defensive player of the year, they got that right. Most improved. I mean, why do you feel like Fatu? You feel like Fatu Sabali? Okay, so if you guys don't know, Fatu Sabali won most improved this year. Why do you think they got that right?
Because I didn't know her name last year.
That's the point.
Like, it was a little shady, but now she's cracking it on FanDuel for me.
So she getting the girl's money, is what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to argue with that. I really didn't follow her in college either. I know she came from Oregon. I think her game is evolved night and day, in my opinion. She really stepped up into a role with the Wings that I wasn't expecting at the beginning of the season. I expected a lot out of Arike, of course, Natasha Howard. I expected more out of Maddie Segrist, to be honest.
Oh, LT kind of played with her minutes just a little bit. That's
why. I would have played with. She's not playing with him. She cut him. She cuts him her minutes.
Oh. Yeah, she cut the minutes.
She cut the minutes because you're out here being a defensive liability. And Satu was showing up, doing it on both ends. She ended the season. This is the part for me. She ended the season on 18 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Wow. That's impressive for somebody who I think last year maybe was averaging 1 assist. So
yeah, 3 points, that's a big jump.
And has maintained and been consistent defensively. So yeah, I was impressed with Satu's growth this year.
Okay.
I think it's arguable that the Wings have more than one face now.
They definitely do. I think Satu is the future of their franchise. You know what I mean? I think Arike is wonderful. I know we talk about all the time, like, she's definitely a bucket. However, I think overall Satu's game is just so much more expansive than Arike's. At least at this point it is. She can always grow her game. But yeah, I see Satu being their franchise player the next few years. I know Arike is signed with them, I think, through 2025 for sure. So she'll continue to be the face of the franchise, their franchise player for now. But Satu is making her way up there. And like you said, I was impressed with Satu's game. I'm definitely a Satu fan. I just think that how I define most improved player is someone who, like you said, I mean, just like what Definition said, definitely improved. But I think that a lot of times people think, like, they think about injury and then they think about improvement. And I feel like Satu was just injured, you know what I mean? Like, I know you said you didn't really follow her game in Oregon. I followed her a little bit. And I feel like she's always been a versatile player. And so I feel like these things were always in her bag, you know what I mean? Like, I think she is getting a chance to showcase them more on this Wings team because whoever their GM is, they constructed it very well. I feel like they had a very well-constructed team. And so I just feel like these are things Satu could always do, and she's just getting to do them now, and she was injured. So if it was me, I'd be like, comeback player of the year, not necessarily most improved. To me, my most improved this year was definitely Jordan Cannon. Like, she came in to the Los Angeles Sparks on a training camp contract. You know what I mean? Training camp. That means, like, we don't even know if we're going to give you a roster spot. We don't even know if we want you to really be here. We just, getting a little sample, see what you can do. And she moved up from that to being solidified on their team, being their point guard, helping them win games, especially when they were dealt with a host of injuries, all types of, like, adversity this season, and being named to the all-defensive team. You know what I mean? Like, this is someone who is basically going to be out of the league this year. Came in on a training camp contract, and she now has a 3-point shot. I don't feel like she had that prior
it wasn't as
to
consistent
this season. Or, yeah, consistency. And so, to me, I feel like that was most improved. Not to take anything away from Satu. Like I said, I feel like she is the unicorn. She has such a versatile game. But this year was Jordan Canada for me. And I feel like that's what the voters saw as well. I think the vote breakdown, it was very similar. Like Satu, of course, had the most votes, I believe, with 32 votes, and then it was Jordan Canada right behind her with no, Satu had 37 votes, and Jordan Canada had 18. So it's not that close, but she definitely had the most amount of votes, secondly, compared to everybody else. So that's why I don't necessarily feel like they got that right, but everybody defines most improved differently. And so,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of my qualms with the awards in general. I feel like we need a more concrete definition of like what these awards are. What is the criteria for them?
What are
You know
the
what I mean?
criteria? What's the rubric? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that the
I
media
feel
has something
you.
to go off of. Or just more awards in general, because when you think about it, it's really not that many awards. There don't need to be 20 awards, but I think, a few more, like I was saying, comeback player of the year or something along those lines would be helpful. So,
Yeah, I feel you. And
yeah.
I think the difference, I think it's the same difference for me with Jordan, knowing where she was before at Seattle and what her
Hmm.
role was. I don't know if that team um, allowed her to be as free on offense and decisive about how it's going to flow
Hmm.
as she is with the Sparks.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it also just comes with maturity
Mm-hmm.
in the league because, like you said, she was on a team with Sue Bird, who is, like we
Yeah.
all know, like future Hall, future Hall of Famer point guard. So when you're her backup, what can you really do? You're only going to get so
Yeah,
many
and
minutes.
it's hard to have a consistent 3-pointer if that's not your only, if that's not your primary role and you're coming off the bench and, that kind of thing. I think she stepped up and saw an opportunity to step up with the Sparks, knowing the talent they have and her leadership showed through. She stepped up in clutch moments. I like that she's your pick. But I'm also a little biased because I remember playing against her. We're the same age, and she used to crack
Oh,
me. Hmm?
a little bias. I mean, it's always a little bias in the
I know.
league.
I
So,
like. I've always known she could hoop, so I'm not surprised. I'm not that surprised. That's a good show.
so I mean, shout out to them, and just to shout out everybody else. So under most improved, who else got votes? It was Elena Smith. She got
Mm-hmm.
3 of the votes, and then Nafisa Collier and Brittany Sykes each got a vote apiece. And so,
Nafisa Collier's a good
uh,
shout.
yeah, I feel like she definitely had a crazy season this year.
Yeah.
Became the franchise player for the Lynx.
Yeah.
She balled out for sure, and I feel like they don't say her name enough. So I'm glad that she got that nod as well. Um, I think for me personally, I would have never picked her. Just similar to some of the stuff we said. I feel like this is stuff Nafisa can always do, but she was on a team, with Sylvia Fowles. You like, when you're on a team with superstar, it's so much harder to show what's in your bag and what your game is than when you're the franchise player. So for me personally, I feel like they got 6th player of the year wrong. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Say
not
more.
Alicia Clark. Alicia Clark has been excellent for the Aces bench. Like, coming off the bench, she definitely gives them that defensive spark they need because, you and me, we text when the games are going on. We kiki a little bit about,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the Aces defense. Some people don't be defending all the time. How they supposed
they
to.
take they play. They're taking plays
They
off.
take their time.
Taking their
They be
time.
skipping.
They run real
Uh,
fast on offense, and then they just can't stay in front of somebody on defense for some reason. I don't know how that goes, but
so I feel like she is that defensive spark that they need. However, to me, I don't feel like she makes that big of a difference for the Aces. And that's not to knock Alicia Clark. That's to speak to how good the Aces just are. You know what I mean? Like when your starting 5 is who your starting 5 is, and you have those offensive weapons, it's so hard for anybody else to really come in and make an impact. That's why I feel like Becky doesn't play the bench that much because it's like, okay, I have this solid of a starting 5. Then I don't really need y'all. You know what I mean? I need y'all every once in a while. So that's why I say that is just to talk about the talent that the Aces have, not to knock Alicia Clark. For me, my 6th player of the year would have been Dejanay Carrington, but the Sun is my team this year. I love them. I don't know, like I just kind of picked them at the beginning of the season. Like, I don't really have an affiliation to any team all the time, but I was like, I'm gravitating to this team. And so, I mean, I watched almost all of the games between all the teams, but clearly I paid a lot of attention to the Sun games. And Dejanay Carrington, like I said, similar to Alicia Clark, she gives that defensive spark that sometimes the Sun needed, but she can also go get a bucket. Like, she is one of those people who is going to get in the lane. Now, she be blowing them layups. And it'd be
the finishes. You gotta get in the gym. You gotta get in the lab on them finishes because that should be looking a little chaotic.
You know what I mean? But when she gets those finishes down pat, she's gonna be so cold. And plus, she's still a young player. Like, she's only been in the league a few years. So Alicia Clark is a vet to me. You know, she's on her way out. She maybe only got one more season. This might be it.
On her way out, Nia. You really come.
I'm not trying to push her out. But she's a great player. I think she's still got some more in the tank. But if they get that ring this year, she might only got one more year in her. You know what I mean? So that's why, to me, personally, Dejanay Carrington was just a bigger spark for the Sun off the bench. They needed that defensive energy. They needed somebody that was going to hustle and get back, and that's definitely her. That's going to cut through the lane. That's going to, dive on the floor, get loose balls, all of that. And that's Dejanay Carrington. And so, to me, she was 6th player of the year. So, I don't know. Who did you have? Who was your 6th woman of the year? Or you feel like they got it right?
I think this one's always hard for me because, what defines the 6th woman? Just because you played more games coming off the bench than starting?
Yeah, that's literally the criteria. You have to have played so many.
6th man to me is how do they use you? Are you subbing somebody to maintain? Or are you coming in to make an impact?
Okay.
Are you leading a second unit? Are you coming in microwave? We need this instant bucket? Are you coming in to give us some defensive intensity? All of the above? What is your actual role? And so I think that if the criteria is you're coming in when you're giving us a spark when we don't necessarily have one, you're helping shift momentum, not just maintain it, then I'm gonna give that to Dejanay Carrington.
Okay.
Because I think Alicia Clark, she played well. I think on another team, she would be starting. But the aces are so stacked.
Exactly. I mean,
so that's why I'm getting. I'm it was kind of set up. it was kind of set up for you to be able to do. Of course.
Yeah, and I think that we also have to talk about Alicia Clark really wasn't even going to be the 6th woman off the bench. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be Kia Stokes.
Exactly.
But Candace Parker, we all know she's injured, went out. So it's okay, I think that a lot of the voters or people were just okay, this was not a role that she was initially going to be in, and she adapted to it and did well. And so it's okay, this is our 6th player of the year. Not that I'm in their heads, but I could see that type of rationale, that thought process. But so I'm me personally, I feel like they got it wrong. I'm not upset about it. There's some awards.
Yeah, I just think
I'm not gonna say some.
She got it at the end of the day. I think it was real close, and I think she got it because she played more.
Yeah, it was okay, let's give it to Alicia Clark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's exactly a good point because Dejanay, if she didn't get hurt, that second half of the season and wasn't out those few games, I think she could have easily even if she didn't win, garner more votes. And so I feel like the other people that got votes, another person who got a lot of votes was Dana Evans for 6th player of the year. She got 9 votes, and then Kalani Brown, Maureen Johannes, and Sammy Whitcomb each received a vote.
Who voted for Maureen Johannes?
You know what I mean? They saw that Commissioner's Cup game, and they said, "This deserves a vote."
Okay, yeah, that was fun. She did her thing.
She did her thing.
She did it for the kids. She did it for charity. She did it for the kids, and because she wanted
and for that check.
Right. She that bonus. She I see how she's doing that. I gotta
hit these 3s for y'all.
Next. Some of us need that.
She wanna. No, for real. So yeah, that's who gave her a vote. They seen that Commissioner's Cup game. They said, "Yep, Look. And then Kalani Brown, I feel like that was well deserved. I feel like
Yeah,
she balled
that's
out
good
for the
honor.
Dallas Wings.
Yeah, that's a good.
And any team in the offseason that picks her up, if she doesn't stay at the Wings, yeah, they got a bucket. They got somebody
The dream could
that's really
use
going to
her.
produce for them. Hello? Cheyenne Parker's tired of being so big out here. You know what I mean? My sister is a mother. She's exhausted. Give her a couple minutes on the bench.
Shit is crazy.
And then Dana Evans with 9, I feel like that's well deserved. She had an amazing season for the Sky. I don't feel like the girlies talk about her enough. They don't give her the respect she needs. I mean, Kaz clearly their franchise player, rightfully so. But I think Dana
Yeah,
Evans,
Dana's definitely the calm, and Kaz definitely the storm.
100%. And that pull up that Dana has, nasty. Like,
It's really nasty.
see it in person.
It would be embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing, and she's so little. You know what I mean? Like, this girl is what, like 5'6", pulling up in your face like this. Like,
it's very disrespectful, actually. Defensively, very strong.
Just overall good. I feel like decent two-way player. Not even decent, good. And yeah, so I'm not mad at her getting 9 votes at all. And I think next year she's gonna be even more of a force. Okay, I feel like those are the ones that are like people are like, oh, we care about these awards, but we don't care that much. You know what I mean?
We don't care that much. What's
got shit else to talk about?
What's T?
You know what I mean? The T is this MVP. Oh my God. It was the talk. Like, you couldn't roll on your timeline and not see a tweet about MVP. That was part 1 of episode 1 of the Nasty Work podcast. If you want to hear our discussion about the MVP award and the playoffs, please tune into part 2.